Hi, my name is Shai Shire, and I am the CEO of Fighting Injustice Standing Together, and this is our volunteer sensitivity briefing. We decided that the topics in this briefing are important to discuss for many reasons. As a society, we are recognizing more and more areas that impact people that we must be considerate of. While complicated at times, what is not complicated is that we will never tolerate discrimination and we promote inclusivity at all times. If and when you approach FIST leadership with a concern or issue, we will take it seriously and do our best to help make it right. We will also take the position of being a perpetual learner. If you have topics, suggestions, or changes, please let us know. These are the topics we are going to talk about in this training. Each of these topics can have a master's class regarding them. This training is not intended to be the end-all, be-all of information regarding each topic. It is intended to help keep these topics in the forefront of our minds while supporting FIST, and to give you insight into our expectations for each of these areas. We feel these topics must be acknowledged, and from an organizational standpoint, we need to be cognizant of the needs in various situations that may arise among our volunteer and staff team members. Some volunteers may have little to no direct engagement with clients, so you may be less likely to face some of the situations presented in these slides. That is fine. Others, such as who are providing goal setting, interview prep, or online chat services, will definitely have a lot more engagement with clients and potentially other team members. From a service perspective, it is extremely important our team members have sensitivity in the forefront of their minds because many clients have had challenges that we may not know about and triggers that could impact their well-being. As you go through this training, think about how these areas can be applied to those who you are volunteering and providing services for. It is everyone's responsibility to elevate their peers, reach out for help, while constantly learning and showing empathy to the struggles that people are going through. By the end of this training, our hope is that we all become a little more conscious. Okay, so let's get into it. These are the areas we are going to talk about. You're going to see a common outline of how we talk about each of these. First, from the perspective of clients we engage with, and second, from the perspective of our organization. And before we get started, if you think we have missed something, please let us know. As you know, we are a brand new organization. And although we have consulted with several social workers and other professionals, your input is still of great value. With that said, anything in your experience or previous trainings that can help, we'd be open to hearing from you. The first topic is religion. While FIST is not a religious organization, we take pride in the fact that we embrace individuals of all walks of faith. Many clients will come with religious and spiritual beliefs. Many people have found comfort in physical changes in their health when they are engaged with religion or spiritual pursuits. It has been a way for many to deal with stress and find support. This is why it is paramount to always show respect to others' beliefs, because many harness their beliefs as reasons to keep going. In the same light, some clients may be agnostic or atheist. They may not want to engage in religious or spiritual conversations, and so our conversations must be considerate to that as well. No matter what, we always maintain the same level of respect, regardless of their personal belief system. Religion or spirituality services are not a core service we offer at FIST. However, while providing our core services, you should expect that individuals may use their engagements with us to discuss religion and spirituality. The best thing we can do, and this is a common theme in the training, is to respond with empathy and consideration to our clients' beliefs. We do not want to attempt to influence religious preferences, even if you may hold different religious practices. We also do not want to present ourselves as religious experts. If someone is looking for referral or advice on religion or spirituality, a good option is to refer them to our chat hotline, who may be able to conduct an online search for religious organizations in their area. But again, this is not a core service of ours. From the workforce perspective, we do not discriminate based on religious preferences and align our practices to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. These are two video links that we try to align our practices with. They offer good perspectives for how to be considerate of religious needs. The next topic is disabilities. According to the Department of Justice, 49% of females report a disability. The Prison Policy Initiative shows data that disabled people are experiencing violent victimization at significantly higher rates than non-disabled people, and that disabled people are significantly overrepresented in prisons and jails. Disabilities come in many forms, from physical disabilities to mental health disabilities and more. Often, a disability can't be seen, and sometimes they go undiagnosed. Disability services are not a core service we offer at FIST. However, while providing our core services, some clients may use their engagements with us to discuss disabilities or other medical and/or psychological issues going on. For the most part, we take a listening and encouraging stance. It is extremely important that you do not present yourself as a certified disability expert. Furthermore, some clients may not discuss their impairments directly with us, but their disabilities may be impacting their engagements with us. If you are a chat hotline volunteer, this may present itself in different ways. That is why the best thing we can do is to respond with empathy, patience, and consideration. Again, it is a good thing to remind clients we are not medical professionals. If someone is looking for referral or advice on medical or disability related services, a good option is to refer them to seek a doctor's opinion or call 211. Alternatively, a chat hotline may be able to conduct an online search for services in the area, but again, this is not a core service of ours. From the workforce perspective, we do not discriminate if someone has a disability. We will align our practices to the Americans with Disabilities Act. This is a good video to watch that dives a little more into best practices when it comes to disabilities and being cognizant of others. If you have any additional material you think might be useful in this training, please do not hesitate to provide it to us. The next topic area is sexual orientation and identity. This is a topic that has received a lot more attention in the recent years, especially in the political domain. It is important we talk about it here because many of our clients will identify in different ways. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, data on how people identify is significantly different between men and women. A recent study revealed that a third of incarcerated women identify as lesbian or bisexual compared to less than 10% of men. The same study also revealed that lesbian and bisexual women are likely to receive longer sentences than their heterosexual peers. The bottom line for all FIST team members is that we treat everyone with respect. While identity and sexual orientation services is not something we provide, Fighting Injustice Standing Together is an organization that respects and elevates others at all times. You can expect that folks with different identifications or sexual orientations may have had challenges in their lives that they want to talk about. And FIST Chatline may be one of those outlets at times. You may even have clients who are experimenting and trying something out for the first time and are telling you about it. Again, we take a listening and encouraging posture in all of our conversations, and we never present ourselves as professionals in the field of sexual orientation. If a client asks for resources, you can always refer them to our chat hotline who can conduct a search. I know we have a section on this in our resource library with a good CDC webpage that has links to several hotlines that focus specifically on sexual orientation and identity services. And from a workplace perspective, we have a zero tolerance stance on discrimination and harassment. If it is discovered that there has been an instance of discrimination based off of somebody's sexuality, that could be grounds for immediate termination from the volunteer position. Here is a good video that we align our practices to and can help elevate your understanding of what others may be thinking and going through. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, 53% of incarcerated women are white, 29% black, 14% Hispanic, 2.5% American Indian and Alaskan Native, less than 1% Asian, and less than 0.5% Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander. When you look at population size by ethnicity, this data starts to show that Black and American Indian women are markedly overrepresented in prisons and jails. Data also suggests that Blacks are disproportionately subject to incarceration. Furthermore, analysis also finds racial disparities in arrest rates for women in police-initiated traffic and street stops, and that since 1980, men's arrest rates have fallen by 30%, but women's arrest rates have barely budged. Incarcerated individuals come from every kind of background and culture there is. Regardless of their background or cultural upbringing, we treat each client with dignity and do our part to elevate their lives. Many clients will have faced extra layers of disadvantages due to their race and background. Often, they are going to reflect on this. Many will have different thoughts and experiences than you, and justifiably, it can create a variety of emotions and pains. Again, FIS does not present itself as the foremost expert on our race and cultural topics. We take a listening and encouraging stance in all of our engagements with clients. Lastly, our clients might not give the same kind of respect that you are trying to practice. If something ever makes you feel uncomfortable, you do not have to continue the conversation. Let a member of the FIS staff know, and we will handle the situation case by case. Otherwise, the best thing we can do sometimes is lead by example and show them respect and patience. From an organizational standpoint, you can learn more about how we are involved in social movements by looking at our social media presence, where we announce the great things our team members are doing. With that said, as a nonprofit, we have a strict governmental guidelines we have to make sure we comply with when it comes to how our funds are spent. And we have a zero tolerance position on discrimination and aligned to the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. This is a great video to watch and learn from that provides invaluable perspectives on the struggles that many people go through but are often overlooked. The data behind sexual harassment, assault, physical abuse, and sexual abuse is horrifying. Many women have had a lifetime of abuse before they were incarcerated. Others are abused while being incarcerated by other inmates or officers who withhold privileges and use retaliation, fear, power, and humiliation to gain control. This kind of abuse is a part of the systemic layers of disadvantages many women face, and returning citizens are particularly vulnerable for continual abuse and harassment even after they find a job. Predators may learn how dependent they are in keeping their job and use that to their advantage. This is one of the many reasons that a client may return to our platform for help in finding new job opportunities. The training involved to respond to rape, abuse, and incest takes specialty training, and thus we strongly encourage referring clients to the specialist at RAIN, found online at rain.org. When a topic like sexual assault comes up, the best thing you can do is listen and tell them that you think they are brave for telling you about it. Then, when the timing is right, ask them to consider reaching out to the RAIN hotline if they want to discuss this with a professional on the topic. Another critical perspective to this is acknowledging the power you have in interactions with clients. Clients want our services, so there is an inherent dependency in that type of situation. We have also had situations where clients have tried flirting with volunteers or have tried setting up one-on-one situations. This is strictly prohibited. Volunteers are not allowed to flirt or engage or suggest sexual activity of any kind. Do not put yourself in a situation where you are one-on-one with a client without a peer or a supervisor of some kind. And any flirtation or sexual advances must be reported to FIS staff immediately. From a workplace perspective, we have a zero tolerance for unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other misconduct. We will ensure that there is never retaliation after you report an event, and will do everything in our power to make it right. Efforts will be taken to align to the best practices found in this video link. If you have any questions about this topic, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you have any concerns or suggestions, please let us know. Much of what we have already discussed can lead to trauma. Trauma is caused by many factors, and we know that the majority of incarcerated individuals have a history of trauma. This is one of the reasons we practice calming exercises and not meditation. Sometimes meditation involves going inside your brain and your thoughts, and not all clients can do that safely. The signs of trauma vary, but may include high levels of stress, anger, abusiveness, being demanding, and feeling rejected. We never know what others have been through, which is why we always take a listening approach. Sometimes trauma is like a mini earthquake. It gets overwhelming and creates a stir, but then it passes. With that said, we don't want to be the trigger to high streams of emotion, but we understand that sometimes clients will use our services as an opportunity to relay trauma they are experiencing. As volunteers, we have to have our trauma lenses on and should never judge or be impatient with our clients. Instead of judging, try to honor the way they manage trauma and highlight their strengths. In some circumstances, trauma can lead to an aggressive response. Our volunteers are always allowed to terminate conversations at any point. If possible, we encourage the termination of conversations to be done in a trauma informed way, which involves communicating very patiently and openly what is happening and why the conversation has to end. If you are in a volunteer position that directly communicates with clients, you'll be receiving more training about talking points and when conversations should be terminated, which in most cases, this requires you to terminate conversations if you feel uncomfortable or if clients are becoming aggressive or if it feels like a client may actually be spamming and or abusing our services. From an organizational standpoint, we need to realize that our team members may also have trauma in their lives too. This is why we have trainings like this, and why we emphasize a supportive structure for volunteers. Every one of our staff members are encouraged to stop whatever they are doing to listen to people who are coming to them with situations. Furthermore, we never want to put our team members in a situation they are uncomfortable with and which may trigger trauma. There are many volunteer position types, and some may be better for you than others. There is an alarming rate of suicide by incarcerated women. According to Informa Healthcare, suicide is 20 times more common in female prisoners than in the general female population. The propensity of female prisoners to kill themselves is increasing, and the risk of suicide is greater in younger women under 25. In contrast to male prisoners, female prisoners have significantly higher suicide rate. Possible explanations include that women enter prison with pre-existing depression, histories of abuse, previous attempts to harm themselves, substance misuse, and with other types of trauma after having their children removed from them. The best thing that we can do for clients who are showing signs or who discuss suicidal thoughts is to immediately refer them and provide a warm transfer to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is also paramount that you understand that FIST is not a mandatory reporter. We don't hold any licenses, and that is why we emphasize that our services are not medical or therapeutic in any kind. We provide job-related services and listening and support. With that said, we encourage what we call a warm transfer to the appropriate resources, no matter who you are engaging with, clients or team members. We're going to talk more about what a warm transfer is in an upcoming slide. Day in and day out, we are spearheading criminal justice reform in the United States. We are very vocal in our government and communities and are on the front lines of helping women in need. By the very nature of our organization, we are tied to criminal justice reform initiatives and social advocacy. In today's society, we are very divided as a country when it comes to politics, and people with different political views are going to be team members of FIST. Yes, it is possible for people who disagree on political topics to work together and believe in helping women who were previously incarcerated. Our clients will also have different views and will often express them. Their views may not align with your views. Because people's emotions can be quickly flared when it comes to politics, we added this section to remind you that no matter what, we take a listening and encouraging approach with clients, and we must always be respectful and considerate of their upbringing and the challenges they have faced to shape their views of the world. Lastly, please understand that FIST needs to be compliant with the 501c3 regulations regarding politics, lobbying, and how we spend our funds. We believe in our core mission, and we need to follow federal and state regulations regarding certain situations. With that in mind, please do not claim to be a representative of FIST at specific events or claim that you are donating on behalf of FIST without coordinating with leadership. This is a good time to talk about confidentiality and disclaimers. We must stay in our lane as an organization. But because we offer a listening outlet in addition to job-related services, clients are going to tell you sensitive things. If you are working on the chat, the very first thing you always do is provide the visitor with a link to our terms of using FIST services and technology. If you are engaging with clients through other services, the client had to already agree to the terms of our services in those situations as well. So what do our terms say? Essentially, there is no promise to privacy or confidentiality with our clients. Volunteers are expected to act responsible and not share information about clients outside of FIST channels, but all clients must agree that FIST personnel have the right to use their best judgment in deciding what information is shared and how. Here are some examples of content in our terms of using FIST services and technology. You can get to this page by going onto the fistdc.org website, and you will see a link in the upper right-hand corner. The bottom line we are trying to convey here is that we want to build trust with our clients, so we never sell their data, nor do we normally talk about our clients to those outside of our organization. And in general, our practices include limiting the amount of personal identifiable information, also known as PII, being exchanged and stored in various areas. We have processes that may ask, why does it have to be like that? And the reason is probably because we are trying to implement protection measures for PII. We always maintain the right to provide data to whoever we need to, though, whether that be other FIST team members or the proper authorities. Not only do clients agree to these terms, but as volunteers, you also agree to these terms. From the perspective of using our systems and also a responsible volunteer providing services. So it is important you become familiar with these as well. We do collect limited volunteer PII as seen in our volunteer agreement. FIST leadership and human resource personnel reserve the right to store and view the information you provide to ensure effective volunteer operations. Here are some good reminders when it comes to confidentiality and privacy. First, trust and respect is an inherent part of communication with clients. We do not want to lose their trust. Although we reserve the right to share and store client information, we have to be responsible with how we use that data. Unless mandated by law and authorized by FIST leadership, volunteers should not be sharing client information with anyone outside of FIST. Clients and visitors are never required to share personal information with us. The services we offer may be limited if they do not share information with us, but we never require it. Also, never reveal personal information about yourself or any of your team members to clients, and only use first names. Finally, all engagement with clients will be through FIST-approved accounts. We have multiple accounts on Skype, Zoom, and Gmail dedicated for volunteer use. As we said earlier, we are not a mandatory reporting organization. What that means is, if someone sends a message on our hotline reporting abuse, we do not have to stop what we are doing and call the authorities. However, we do practice what we call a warm transfer. This is a reasonable approach to help whoever is reporting something to us or whoever has expressed the need. We don't want to just ditch people. That is not the kind of culture we are trying to create. An example of a reasonable warm transfer is if someone goes to the chat and says they are thinking about hurting themselves. We would provide them with the right resource, give them the exact link and phone number, follow up with them to make sure that that phone number and link work for them, and ensure they are able to reach someone. But at the end of the day, we operate within reason, and we are not mandatory reporters. We have touched on this slide a little bit before already, but as a reminder, flirting is never allowed. You have to understand that you are in a position of power with our clients. We are currently dealing with one of the most vulnerable populations. They may not know it is inappropriate to flirt with you because they may have used it as a means of survival when navigating people in power in the past. They need your support, so that professional trust must be maintained at all times. If you see a member of the FIST team breaking any of our policies, please intervene and report that to FIST leadership. Your report will be kept confidential, but it is vital that we know this information to keep our clients safe. We want to maintain a good culture within FIST, and we want volunteers to love being here and know we are on their team. We want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and we know genuine mistakes happen, and oftentimes resolving these things can be done at the lowest level. However, because our work is so sensitive and important, we need to make sure we have critical conversations with one another and keep each other accountable. For those who will be engaging directly with clients, it is important to have some knowledge in conflict resolution. You will be serving women with a wide range of personalities. In most cases, conflict will not arise, and the experience will be positive for everyone. However, the very last thing we can do as volunteers is be unprepared and respond with anger, disappointment, judgment, and fuel the fire. We want to be the opposite of what most of these women have experienced in the past. FIST strives to be a calming force, and our volunteers need to know how to help others zoom out and gain perspective. The thing about conflict is that it naturally creates stress, and even good people can act out of character. The common way people deal with conflict is avoidance, walking away, or getting upset. In the case of the women we are serving, conflict can mean warfare and lots of pain. Not just getting your order wrong at a restaurant. Conflict for many formerly incarcerated women means life or death. Conflicts differ, but they usually start the same way, with a small disagreement that somehow escalates. The very basic definition of conflict is when one person has a need of another person and that need is not being met. One of my favorite techniques is that when people approach you at a level 10, respond at a level 4. Many women coming from incarceration can operate near that level 10 and are used to others engaging at that same level. Like I said earlier, FIST is intending to be that calming force that provides listening, encouragement, and empathy. We can't be at a level 10 with formerly incarcerated women because there's just too much risk. I always encourage you to come talk with FIST leadership about any situation that makes you feel uncomfortable. I understand that many leaders will try to de-escalate and resolve conflict at the lower levels, if that makes sense. That is okay. With that said, anything that violates our policies here in this training, and anything that is an emergency or involves a confrontational or inappropriate engagement with a client or FIST team member, should be reported to FIST leadership. Before you volunteer for a shift or an assignment, especially if you are engaging with clients real time, it is incredibly important to be in the right mindset. That is why we are sharing some emotional intelligence techniques. Having strong emotional intelligence also helps in situations where you may need to de-escalate. In most cases, you are not going to need to de-escalate a situation, but we want you to be prepared, and we think understanding these 5 areas of emotional intelligence will help. The first area is being self-aware of what state of mind you are in and how you respond to situations. Like we have said before, you need to be prepared to respond at a level 4, even if clients are at a 10. So it is important you think about how you can slow your thoughts down and how you can leverage your strengths if a situation is to ever arise. The second area is self-regulation. Remember that you are in control of you. You have a set of values that you strive to live by, and you hold yourself accountable to living by those values. If you are like most volunteers, you are often driven by wanting to be a part of the positive social change and helping others. In order to do so effectively, sometimes that involves the ability to respond in a manner that manages your behavior, impulses, and emotions. This leads well into the third area, motivation. Why are you here? Why are you involved in FIST? Keep that in mind, because service is not always pretty. You may not receive a thank you from a client. That kind of communication may not be in their vocabulary. It may not be something they are familiar with or feel comfortable doing. But you know why you are here, and you know that what you are doing is important and the right thing. The fourth area is empathy. When you think about our clients, many people would not have survived a mile in their shoes. So when you think about why someone is acting the way that they are, try to remember that their life and experiences may be drastically different from yours. And when possible, pay attention to the body language and tones in their voice, because you may be able to tell if something is wrong and if you need to pivot your approach. For example, if they seem disengaged, there might be a cue for you to do less talking and maybe try to ask more questions and encourage them to break their comfort level. And finally, our clients usually respond well to encouragement, positivity, and clear communication. You have to remember that many clients have not had any leadership in their life and are not used to people supporting them. They may have trust issues and they may be skeptical about FIST. In our experiences, active listening, encouragement, and perpetual optimism is a world changer for the women we serve. In this slide, we talk about workplace inclusion and belonging, which is at the heart of much of what we just talked about. This is about ensuring everyone is treated fairly and respectfully and has equal access to opportunities and resources. We never want team members or clients to feel left out or to feel like they didn't have the opportunity to fully contribute. This slide shows a couple best practices such as embracing differences, being conscious of participation, uplifting those around you, highlighting strengths, ensuring transparency, and practicing information sharing. This is everyone's responsibility and applies to working with clients and team members in a group setting. I think much of what we talked about here in this training will help challenge unconscious bias. The best actions we can take to reduce unconscious bias is to be aware, which is what this training intended to do, question yourself, ask yourself what might be driving your thoughts or behaviors, create inclusive practices in meetings, and talk about it. Create supportive dialogues. Finally, for more information, please visit the EEOC website. We are incredibly excited to have you on the FIST team, and you are going to make a huge difference. Thank you.